Hi, I'm Kit,
And I'm Cade,
and we're real people.
doing real reviews.
We are doing number 2 on our list of the top 13.
Horror films of 2024.
That's right.
We're getting close to the end.
We watched Nosferatu. I'm saying that right?
Yes. Yeah.
Starring Lily Rose Depp. And as the lead female on that, there's some great actors in this one. We saw Defoe. And we watched it. What did we watch? We spent how much?
$7.
On what channel? Where did we stream it?
Prime. On Prime.
Yeah. So we spent some time when Amazon Prime. We were like, we're gonna watch this, and we loved like the posters when it was coming out, when it was in theater. There was so much conversation around the merch that there was somebody like selling Nosferatu. I think the studio was selling Nosferatu beds that were like a crypt that was like very everywhere.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh, like this is kind of interesting.
Yeah. We both last year were very excited to see it, and it just never came up. So we were looking forward to reviewing that in the top 13. And well, I'll just break it to them. I fell asleep again.
We had to order food to keep it going. We did.
Well, nice. Yeah.
So here's what we found. The way that they have taken us on this Dracula journey, and which we don't mind a creature feature, and we don't mind horror tropes either. You know, when you're using things that have worked and that are classic, and you're bringing them up and maybe filming them in a fresh way with beautiful cinematic lenses and beautiful editing, like we're not against that. It's not, we're okay. But
The story sucked.
it was like
Story sucked.
and there was things that we were like, really? They were in the wait, there I felt, man, like the character development wasn't there. Yes.
We're struggling here, guys.
Yeah. We said multiple times the actors really carried that for what they had to work with the lighting.
Yeah.
Great job, actors.
And I mean, there was like nods to other kind of Dracula kind of movies, silhouettes, shadows.
Yeah, noir.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The whole great, like those parts were great.
Mm-hmm.
However, we didn't need to watch the first hour and a half of the movie.
No.
Because it wasn't so long, and actually in discussing it, it really didn't make sense with the rest of the story.
Yeah, so they take it as this husband and wife. She's a little bit tortured. They call it melancholy, and he's at his job. He's getting, potentially given a new client where he has to go to the client to sell a home, basically. So he's like a real estate agent in the 1800s, and he has to travel to him. They're like, it's a 6-week journey. You have to go to him in his old castle, and he's going to move here locally to this other older home. And that's what he requested. But he's, not super great health. So you have to go to him to go sign the agreement so that the next step is that he moves here. And the guy's like, okay, we're going to go on this journey. And so you would think that the timeline would be that he's going on that journey and maybe what that adventure is like. But basically, it looks like he travels for like a couple days. He stops at one town. The town's like, oh, I wouldn't go up to that Dracula castle. And he's like, you sure? He has a bad dream. He's like, this is kind of weird. And then he goes to the castle anyway. And then he sees some Dracula stuff. He was like, that was messed up. To get away, he jumps out a window.
Yeah.
Falls into a river. Some nuns find him in the river. They just happen to be the nuns that know how to try to make him healthy again. When he's healthy enough, he gets the horse from the nuns, goes back. He's got to warn my wife because I think Dracula wants my wife and has always wanted my wife. And then the employer turns out Dracula's assistant.
And then Dracula comes over on a boat.
Which we were like, he never went on a boat. Why is he coming on a boat?
Where's the water?
Like, wait, like it was from the river? Like, how did we?
Yeah.
We didn't. And they're like, well, the boat brought the plague because it had Dracula in it. But we were like, okay, but like, why didn't they just use a carriage? Because he just like went on horseback and walked there. Like,
yeah,
it was
a very.
okay. So that happened. And that's everything has to be explained, you know? Could have been like the shipping company had a deal with the town and was carrying other goods since they were taking Dracula's belongings to the new home. Who knows? But it just seemed very bizarre and disjointed. The synopsis is that this tortured woman, this melancholy woman, has always had a relationship with kind of dark energy and had invited it in, and then she suppressed it and got married to a very lovely gentleman who's just doing good by his wife, just a good old wholesome guy that doesn't ask too many questions.
And then it comes back.
And then it comes back because he's like, "You have always belonged to me."
Yeah.
Also, not explained like how did the husband's employer, that's Dracula's assistant, know that the wife mattered to Dracula? Like, we didn't, nothing was explained. Like, we're like, okay, why do these guys matter?
Right.
Then there's
And then we had a little Charles Dickens moment where Dracula comes.
Nosferatu. Sorry, should we not say that? Because I'm like, this is what this was.
True.
Oh.
The vampire, the creature, came to the woman. And he's like, "Oh, you rejected me. You have 3 nights. And the people you love are going to die around you if you don't accept me."
And by accept, he means I would like to sleep with you.
Yeah.
So she's like, gross, no. Then people start dying, and then she's like, okay.
The end.
And then she makes love with him until it's sunlight, and then he's out in the sunlight, not at his crypt where he should be.
Because I burned it.
Because they burned it, and also because he's there still making love to her for hours until the sun goes up, and then you would hope that he would just like disintegrate, but he just like looks like a crumpled like skeleton.
Yeah.
And you're like, gross. Also, he had a mustache. He had a mustache.
I feel like he looked like, what is that cartoon movie with the evil character that has that mustache?
Like Yosemite Sam, like Wile E. Coyote.
No, not the Looney Tunes.
Okay, different.
There's something newer. Leader of the Minions.
Gru has the big nose. He doesn't have.
No.
We'll come back to it.
Yeah.
Well,
there's something. Anyways, he did have a really big mustache, bigger than this one.
Yeah.
Which was also weird because then they had like blood coming out of it. I mean, that gore scene was pretty good.
Okay, let's talk about what we did like.
Okay.
Okay.
So you should start the movie an hour and a half in.
Yeah, perfect. It could be a short film.
Could be a wonderful
30-minute short film.
Yeah.
I don't know, at the front end. Okay, so what do we do like, not what we don't like. That's fair. Okay. Do we like the 3 nights, the 3 wishes, Jingy? We don't like that.
I mean,
move the story a little.
The story moved a lot faster in the last little bit. It was like they wanted to wrap it up. Like it took so long to get there, and then it was like,
yeah,
we are finding the things. We found where he is. The other guy escaped. People are dying left and right. There's more conversations. We're a big back and forth. Boom, bang, boom. We're moving into the movie.
Yeah. But we thought they did a good job with the some of the classic kind of horror things, like great use of shadows, great use of noir, good use of silhouette. You certainly bought in. So she has a best girlfriend that has daughters that's pregnant. That's like kind of in this. And do you really buy into like that she's a very sweet, wonderful person? Husband loves her, and then she gets murdered by the creature, and you feel that. I thought that was a good development there. So I was like, oh, she was so lovely and cared about her friend who was getting tortured at night. And
yeah, like those kinds of scenes where she gets taken over. Very believable.
Yeah, well acted, Lily, because like, you know, like she basically has to seize and have seizures and goes into the demonic state cave. And I'm like, God, what a physical role. So like extreme, rolling her eyes back, you know, contact.
Flickering.
Yeah, like very, and you're like, so this is when the, you know, demonic voices or Nosferatu voices talking to her, she would enter like a different realm. And so in the beginning, she's staying with her really great girlfriend and the husband, which the husband's also friends with her husband, and because he's going on the journey to go sell the house or whatever, and so at night, because that's what she's talking to her and like she's having, and they're doing everything they can, so they bring a doctor at night to like try to like ether her to like sleep and things like that. And
Or to the bed.
yeah, they like make her sleep in a corset entirely. Like they're trying to keep her safe. Like they really are. Like you feel like they care about her and they're trying to do a good job. Until eventually the doctor's like, so I have this professor and like and the guy was like, "Oh my gosh, there's another doctor here that could maybe help us. Like, why didn't you tell me earlier?" And he was like, "Well, he's kind of obsessive and crazy,
Yeah.
but I think he kind of like he's obsessed with like occult and like things. So, but he might have some answers because I don't have any." And that's William Dafoe's character. So they go see him, and he plays a really great eccentric kind of professor that like knows things, but he's also kind of honest.
Yeah, I think he did a really good job with his role. Like, I think it was the most, like, developed, exciting,
Character.
well thought out and everything that he said.
I would say he's a tremendous actor because even his voice, like if you ever listen to Willem Dafoe in like interviews, he really softened it for and like how he was enunciating as you would in the 1800s, and I'm like, oh, that's so interesting because his voice is kind of like gravelly and like down here, and he made it more like he smoothed it over so it's proper, and he did sound like very educated and but eccentric, and so yeah, really great character. Although there's two scenes where he's like, I've never met Nosferatu. Like, he's, like, trying to, like, explain stuff 'cause
We don't know what to do.
we're like, it says, "Then let's go look at this book," and, well, the book says that,
Where did they find the book?
in the assistant, the employers.
Ah, again, something not explained.
You might include the sleep then when they
Oh, maybe. Maybe I missed that part.
Oh, man.
If you figure out where the book came from, let us know.
Comment below.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was in the office. It was in, like, the
Oh, where did the boss get it from?
well, that not
Oh,
explained.
okay.
Yeah, he's
So the story, would you like? Clearly, I think everyone knows what I think about the story, but what do you think about the story?
I think
Yeah.
I don't mind in an era piece. I think that's kind of in the 1800s. It's common to show journey, right? Because everybody was on horseback, everything was far away and far apart, and you wrote letters, and so I don't mind like journey being kind of talked about or whatever. And so I think that for me, um, with the storyline. I like that the book explained that there was no other way to get rid of this, creature except for her kind of sleeping with him. And it's written in the book, so it's explained like what has to happen. That's helpful because you would think it's a stake through the heart. We're gonna do this. We're gonna kill it. We're gonna burn the corpse, which is helpful, but it's not like the full like what you need to do. Um, I think that the story was a little lackluster and half-hearted, since a half-hearted story.
Half-hearted
I
for a vampire movie.
yeah, we will well, because
There
we were chatting right after and we were saying that, okay, there's some classic horror things that are great here, but there's also some things that I'm like, as an audience, when it comes to characters, oh gosh, I do sound like pretty like, we don't wanna be those types of critics that are like trash, but, I feel like as an audience, we're intelligent beings, right? And so when we're seeing somebody tell a story and we're watching the connection between characters or whatever the writing was for the dialogue between characters, and it seems stiff and not stiff because of politeness and manners and the era, but stiff in the way that the connection isn't there. I feel like that is a half-hearted effort where they're like, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to show this. And then, um, we're skipping over some of the connection points on why we care about some of the things that are happening. And I also felt like there was things when it came to the storyline that maybe we could have gone a little darker. Like this is not fraud. This is a demonic entity. This is a vampire. This is something that sucks your blood. This is, it's gonna come, it's gonna create a plague, it's gonna destroy. So there are things that were happening that I was like, if they had just gone here a little bit, it would have been a little darker.
Well, I think they ran out of time. They ran out of time. Yeah. Also, some of those guys, there were some scenes we could have just cut out completely.
Done
Without the nuns, without the gypsies, as they called them in the woods. Like,
yeah, that didn't add.
we could have just cut out all the travel. Like,
He could have just been
we could have just been like 4 weeks later. You know what I mean?
it makes me wonder what studios.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyways,
What would you give it out of 10 there, Cade?
well, I do think for a period piece, it was. I mean, it was. From what I remember, it was good. So, nap-worthy. We're a Cade nap-worthy film. Which is also good because you can wake up before the end, and it's a good ending.
Well,
I mean, it's kind of exciting.
yeah.
Yeah, I put Lord of the Rings in that category too. Everyone, you know, you can sleep through like the middle part and wake up for the battle.
They're walking through the.
I'm just prolonging my. I'm trying to think of what I'm gonna give this film. I am going to give it a 4.5.
Okay. Yeah.
Because as long as the movie was and how slow it was to pick up, I did quite enjoy kind of all the little things. Like someone thought about it, like the shadows and like
some of the classic things.
The classic kind of vampire parts where I was like, oh, that was nice. But yeah, could have done without the first half. So that's why it's under 5 for me.
Okay. Yeah, 4 for me.
Okay.
I'm with you. Like a little bit of the classic pieces. Love that there was an actual castle when he lived in a castle. I thought that was kind of like, oh yeah, like they really went there.
What that cost?
Wonder if it was just CGI.
Maybe.
I mean,
everything was very dark.
Yeah.
Also, too, if you want to watch this movie, watch it at nighttime.
Yep. Glare from the window, kind of clear off the shadow. Disagree.
Yeah. You can't see anything during the day. It's too dark.
I feel like if you've never seen a true Dracula movie and you saw this, you probably think it was really wonderful.
But who hasn't seen a Dracula movie?
Well, like an 18-year-old maybe. I was like starting out and watching cinema.
Oh,
No?
I don't know.
What?
I'm gonna have to.
If you're 18, comment below. No, that was like a shrink of.
That's weird.
Is that?
I was gonna say I don't know any 18-year-olds either, so I can't ask.
But I think like if
You'll take a poll.
Yeah, like that's what I mean. But if you're like new to like exploring drawings, I'm saying 18 because that's like the minimum for like because when it's rated R, right?
I don't know.
Isn't it? It's rated R 21.
I don't know. I'm so old these days. I don't even know the rules.
I don't know.
I don't even know the rules, guys. Sorry.
Okay, well, yeah, 4 for me.
4.5 for me.
I am wondering how it got so high on this list.
Yeah, crazy enough, it beat out some really good movies that we liked lower in the list.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think we oddly enough, I think the interesting part is we've gone through this list is seeing all of the different types of horror genre movies.
Yeah.
Because they've all been very different.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd be interested to see what or why they ranked them in that order. Or maybe they pulled them out of a hat. Maybe they were just like,
what was horror last year? Yeah. I hope not. My gosh.
They were like, we need a sci-fi movie. We need a Dracula movie. We need a ghost. Oh no. Did we watch a werewolf movie? No. No werewolves this year. Okay.
Well,
what? What do you think, guys? What do you?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's interesting for us when we read online people's reviews and
they've got some really good reviews.
Really, really high. And it does make me think like as reviewers, as like real people that are not looking at it from like a cultural perspective, right? We're looking at as cinema goers that like good movies and good story and developed characters and we believe it. And so I'm like, what did they see that we're missing? Because we can go, and if you've seen some of our other reviews, like, we can go deep, we can connect with things, we can see what's the messaging here, and what's the storyline. Do we wanna talk about, that they're sacrificing virgins by making them sleep with, vampires, and talk about it, maybe the taboo subjects of what's pure and what is yucky and what happens, and, these types of what submission is, like, all like, do we wanna go there? Because I don't. I just wanted to watch a good movie. I wanted to like it.
I'm very sad that I wasted the $7, but I think I would have been more sad if we would have watched it in the theaters last year.
Man, yeah.
Ugh.
Or, like, when we're at a festival and there's, like, really good pieces of cinema and we chose that over, like, the other independent films. And I think sometimes, especially when a horror movie has a happy ending, so she saves the world, he's gone, we're like, "Really? Like, really? That was the choice. The sun came up and now we're all saved." That was William Dafoe's patting her cat and is like, "Well, we're all good now." And for us, we're like, "Yeah?" He said after, which I thought was so good. He was like, "It'd be so great if, like, that wasn't the end, and then it just says, like, common day, and it shows, like, a girl that maybe looks similar, like, undoing, like, her locker like, her first day of college or something, and so then you're like,
Some texts, some cell phones, like,
yeah, it goes from, like, 1800 to, like, it's still happening, and it's still."
and like he's still out there somewhere. Yeah.
Mhm.
Like he would have, like, because they played into all of the tropes of like a vampire
It
movie
transcends time and space.
that,
Yeah.
like, why didn't he just turn into a bat and fly away?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that would have been my ending. Like he's still out there, but the world's safe. So it's like
Hmm.
it's a happy-ish ending, but could happen again.
Yeah, and then
Ta-da!
studio, if you're listening, you can do a number 2. You know what I mean? Like,
Because they probably spent a lot of money on that.
I mean,
A lot of money.
there's some I yeah, I mean, yeah.
All
Just on
the
casting a little
wardrobe.
hair-piece wardrobe, yeah, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Set dressing, horse wranglers. Ugh.
That whole village in the woods thing
That
with
must have
the
been
fire.
that's even why they sold Shafter. It was like 20 grand for those beds. They were like, "You gotta make it up some."
That was the crew party.
All that was. We're like, "Guys, this is what you get. Like,
Yeah.
we're just gonna do this." One of the actresses was like, "I'll do it naked, haha." And they were like, "Let's do it."
They had to pay their casting director a bit extra to cast all those
Yeah.
people.
Well, okay.
Anyways,
I'm here,
and I'm Kate,
and we're real people.
doing real reviews.
Bye.
Bye, guys.